Hey, what's up everyone? This is Snicked, back with another Royal Revolt 2 video. Thanks for checking it out. In this installment, we're going to take a break from the base reviews that we've been doing. Actually just posted a base review for Asteroid out on my YouTube channel. I would suggest having a look at that. But in this installment, we're going to look at the base that belongs to Master E. Over the past few months, I've played Royal Revolt to become acquainted with Master E, or Ed, as we like to call him, those of us who know him. And Master E is probably the closest thing that we have in Royal Revolt to somebody with celebrity status, maybe aside from Jason Wyvart, who does a lot of videos for Royal Revolt 2 as well. But Master E, actually, in talking with him earlier today, really nice guy, very intelligent, and obviously an amazing and exemplary Royal Revolt 2 player. Actually, had told me about his new base design. I rated his base just a few days ago, as I occasionally do, just to keep sharp. And so he's completely changed his base design. And to Master E's credit, he often changes his base designs, just experimenting with different types of tactics and different types of setups. And so many people check out his base and look at it because he's typically the #1 player in the world. And so, to their credit, they mimic what Master E is doing and create the same base design. So oftentimes Master E's base designs will be mimicked or will be replicated by other people, and you'll begin to see his designs popping up all over the place. So this design, Ed called the Death Box, and I think you can tell, excuse me, just having a look at it, exactly what he means by that. So we'll see how that works out in practice, but with the towers and the blockades that he has lined up inside the square, it's a pretty formidable looking map. And then of course there's an awesome choke point. There's a couple of points of key overlap there where the path touches, and we'll see if I'm able to make it through that very easily as well. Now, the thing about Master E's base that everybody is probably already aware of, but you should know, is that everything is completely maxed out. So all of his blockades, all of his skull towers, all of his firebolt towers are completely upgraded. So level 9s for the towers, and then level 12 for the blockades. So that means that his base is insanely powerful, and it's very slow going to get through. But then in addition to that, his waves are completely upgraded as well. So each wave has 40 morale points, which means that there are 40 points that you can allocate. Mortars cost 5, cannons cost 5, pyromancers, R-blasters cost 4, paladins, frosters cost 3, and so on and so forth. Knights cost 1, archers cost 2. I think that's everybody. But you have a maximum of 8 slots, as everybody knows, that you can allocate those points towards. So the most efficient allocation of those points is to put in 8 mortars or 8 cannons or some combination thereof. Otherwise, you're going to be leaving points out there. But anybody in the top 10 or anybody that's a high-level player or anybody that's really even just thought it through will tell you that that's not the best. That's not the best troop mix by any stretch. If you've ever come across a base that has all mortars in its waves, you know just how bad that can actually be in practice. So that's not something that Ed does actually, but you will notice here he has mortars, pyromancers, R-blasters, and then frosters. So he has a completely ranged DPS base. There's no melee, no paladins, no knights, of course. And then it looks like he has one, maybe more than one froster per wave, but it looks like it's probably just one. So everything goes very slow. Everything's completely upgraded. Ed, Master E, has been playing the game a long time, so he's really thought things through. And so anyway, without further ado, that's just a little bit of a tutorial or a primer on Master E's base, in case you've never been inside and you're curious. But let's go ahead and have a look at the base itself. I'm not going to tear his base down the way that I typically do other bases, just because it's really not necessary, and I'm sure I won't have a whole lot to critique. Let's see how well I do in the Death Box. So what I'm going to do is just spam some pyromancers and R-blasters right from the beginning. Level 12 blockade, which a max level Blade Storm will bring 2 of those down. just 2 of them. So we'll do that again here, and that's our heal, level 12 heal. So this is basically max against max. Okay, so here's a max level Sonic Blast, which is just able to bring down a max level Fireball cannon. I know a lot of you are curious about how a max level Sonic Blast stacks up against max level towers, and that is demonstrated here. There's another Sonic Blast. It's able to bring down that Skull Tower. So it's rare, unless towers are clustered together, it's very rare to be able to bring down more than 1 tower at a time when everything's max level. What I'll do, as you'll notice I just did there with that Firebolt tower, is I will do what I call tagging. And tagging towers is where you attack them and they sustain a certain amount of damage from your attack, and then you walk away. And the reason that I do that with Firebolt towers is that I'm bringing a lot of Pyromancers up behind me. As you see back there, if they're able to get through that quick point. And they will actually clean up behind me. Looks like I'm going to die here. But they will actually clean up behind me and take down a lot of these towers. So I won't have to worry about that. And that's a crucial thing to have. The death box. That's a crucial thing to be able to tag towers and to be able to move on. Because in a base like this, if you don't do that, everything moves so slowly that it's nearly impossible to get to the gate. You can see my cannons drop down that tower, which is really important. But if I'm not careful here, I will die. Really close to dying. So it's going to be a crapshoot on whether or not I can bring the gate down. Never mind, take out these Firebolt towers. So I didn't manage things really well here. We'll see if my Sonic Blast can regenerate in just enough time to take care of this. Looks like it's going to be by a nose. Yeah, with 3 seconds left. So that was a raid. As you can see, it was a little under pressure there at some points and wasn't able to completely bring down all of the towers that are up there around the castle gate, which is also a good example of how if I had gone off and become distracted and attempted to take one of those towers down, especially with my health being under pressure there, I may have died. Probably would have died if I had gone and stood right under one of those Firebolt towers. But I did get 94%, so I think I left every tower up around the gate up, and so you know, this being the first time that I've seen the death box, that's actually not too bad, but the reason that I was able to get 94% and it wasn't actually closer to 90 is that a lot of my Pyromancers were able to come through and take down those Firebolt cannons that I had tagged. And again, by tag, I mean damage them just enough to where the targeting AI in the game for your troops that are coming up behind you will lock onto those towers and will basically mop them up for you. So you attack them, they sustain some damage, but in the interest of time and getting through to the gate and bringing it down before the timer runs out, you have to move on. You can't stay, in the end game here, you can't stay by every tower and use every cooldown to ensure that every tower comes down, because if you do that, you just don't have enough time to get through. And so because Firebolt towers are so popular, rightfully so, and because Pyromancers are so effective against them, it's very helpful to learn how to tag. It's a little bit of an art, because if you don't attack a tower with enough damage, or if you don't damage a tower enough, especially if it's in a corner, then the targeting AI for your Pyromancers, your R-blasters, your cannons, etc., might pass that tower by, which reduces the percentage that you get from the tower. But if they sustain enough damage, then your troops, as they come up behind you, will fire on those towers and will just keep going and going, and ideally will clean up a bunch of towers behind you. And that's more or less what happened here, because I would have had a much lower percentage if a lot of those, or if several of those towers that I left behind hadn't been taken down. But overall, Ed, the death box is very, very powerful. And I mean, I have a pretty strong hero at this point, which I think is is more or less commensurate with your bass, but even then, it would take a lot of refinement and running it quite a few times in order to be able to have a hope of getting 100%. So awesome job, and hopefully you guys found it interesting to check out MasterE's bass and to get an idea of what one of the best, if not the best basses in the world looks like. Thanks.